"Hey darlings," was a daily sun all day long, from those that the spring is protecting us. In a multi-story car shop, mainly for a few people, where the average person would say, "I just want to have fun and nothing else," it would be a simple, alive dream. He enters a naked old man, with a few hair and clothes like those worn by drug addicts. As everything was, but only one named Nikos. It was not his turn to serve. But when he saw his brother's impolite behavior, the ironic and harsh way Gerakos was dealing with, he remembered his father's words before he died. Yes, from those moments when his father puts his child in his arms. "My son, Thesavros in a man does not appear from the external appearance or from the material that humanity thinks." The key to see the Thessalonian is a distinction to the mental world of this place, where every person has. The old man was passing cars one by one, but one was the one that drew his attention and the investigation in detail. The citizens continued to fight each other, but they also forbade Nikos to serve the strange and unusual customer. Here, the director with 2 security guards appears in the salon and asks the servants, "But why haven't you kicked this man out? What are you doing so late? Do you want a guest to enter and criticize this man here? And what will they say? We are not a store for anyone." The oldest of the servants is thrown out, since it was his turn to serve. "Mr. Diathintas, don't you see how it is? He is spreading a false smell and does not follow the health insurance measures." The manager says, "I don't care. Fire him, otherwise you will lose your job." And he left. The employee, concerned about what he will do, admits. They try to convince him and the colleagues succeed, as he was not late to come. Then Nikos says, "Let's not act so hastily," the manager says. "He will only leave when he has paid the prices, and he will realize that he made a mistake by coming here." Then the former officer says, "Nikos, act quickly before we find our guest." As they were saying these things to each other, here comes the old man. One of them is approaching and says, "Excuse me, can I touch my bag somewhere?" Then the citizen with a passion answers in Hebrew, "Let her be here in the chair." "But anyway, sir, what do you want? How long are you still here? Can't you see? There is no store here with cheap clothes, or whatever you think." The hour passes, and the fear of not being able to make a second observation of the manager increases. Gerakos leaves his bag and goes back to the salon to look at the car he liked. The eyes of the citizens are turned on Gerakos, and the whisper continues. It was the most expensive car. And the citizens say ironically to each other, "What are you saying, Grandpa? Do you want the most expensive car?" In other cases, if the old man was well-groomed and clean, they would serve him with mania. They would not let him suddenly leave the store, but as it is, they do not even want to give him a minute. What to gain from a beggar? "Come on, guys, that's enough. We've eaten him. There, in a minute the man will leave,"
said Nikos Gerakos.
"So otherwise he will not buy," said one. "Hey, then let's kick him," said the other. "Let him reign," said Nikos. "There are rich people who look and do not buy. What is this worse about? But joke, you make us Nikos. He is dirty, and in the best he will dirty whatever he touches. And if he is a psychopath and breaks them all here, I would not like to be considered for all this." And now they see Gerakos wanting to sit in the car. The one who was nervous then quickly stopped him. "Let him finally sit down," Nikos replied again. "Let him go sit on any bench," said the hero, and ran to call security. Gerakos got into the car and looked at it in detail, slowly and carefully. He had never seen such a car before. He felt very happy, and at that time he felt a hand touching his shoulder. It was the security, and behind him the 2 citizens. "Grandpa," he says to him in general, "you are not allowed to sit inside and touch it." "But why, my child? Aren't these the cars that someone can see and try?" A citizen laughed ironically, who was behind the security. "For safety reasons," security says, "the car has been sold, and if something happens to the car, the new owner will make us a message." But how will I test it then? Says the sad old man. Very simply, you will not test it, Grandpa, says the security. I would ask you to leave the salon. But why? Says the sad old man. For technical reasons, says the hero. There is a maintenance in the building, and he must leave. Without the old man being martyred and bringing his staff to a difficult position, he leaves the salon and moves sadly towards the bus stop. Now the disturbed citizens felt a sense of relief when they were unloaded the strange customer and everyone returned to their offices. Then the voice of Irona was heard throughout the salon. He forgot his bag. With a shape on his face and in a distance, as if he had something unspoken in his office. Gerakos' bag was worn out, old but clean, like those that old people have in their markets. It is difficult for the older people to separate their things. As for the older ones, it has emotional value. They slowly approach the office where the bag was, and the hero says to the security. He was careful not to touch her, as she might get hurt and have something dangerous in her. Leave the nonsense alone. You are not bothered anymore, says Nikos, and quickly grabs the bag and runs to get the old man. The strange customer, sad, moved towards the stop. He was thinking about the problematic behavior of the employees who did not want to serve him, as the store was crowded and he was poor. But in reality, he could not afford to buy the car he and his wife were dreaming of. He also claimed that as life is expensive, the car is also expensive. As he was thinking these, the citizen approaches him and hits him on the shoulder. He turns around and sees the citizen in a panic. I'm sorry, but you forgot your bag, laughing at the old man. The old man recognizes the citizen and says, but what a stupid old man I am who made you enter the club. I'm sorry, my child, but as soon as I saw the price, I got upset and that's why I forgot my bag. But then why did you come to such a car show? Says the sad Nikos. And he continues, but how is it possible? You thought you would buy such a car? My mind does not fit. Then Nikos said to him, please, Lord, forgive us for the behavior of our colleagues. I want you to understand that you are not used to seeing people like you in the salon. If you are rich and poor, it is your right. But we, from the appearance of the customers, understand their level. Oh, my child, I am rich. How can I do such a thing? I take a small salary. I collect various bottles and aluminum. And so the money is slowly being collected. The old man opens his bag and slowly shows it to Nikos. Yes, I collected them, but the car was hidden again, said the old man, sad. It was your dream, the young man asks. My wife was sad and she takes her bag, holds it in her arms and continues with her feet. But you are waiting for Gerakos. Should I help you with another car? No, my child. Don't get into trouble. My wife doesn't want another car. That's all she wanted to get. Now she doesn't care. The money is not enough. Nikos experiences an emotional moment like those he read in beautiful books. But you are waiting for Gerakos. I will try to make a bigger version, but without worrying about it. But something will happen. Have faith in me. I don't have much time left, and you explain to the young man that his wife is dying. 2 years ago, when we were well, we were dreaming about how we would live our lives. We would travel, since we couldn't make children, and in one of our travels, Katerina saw this car and went crazy. In her eyes it was just that, and she says to me, my dear Alexander, come on, let's sell our house, which is too big for us both, and with that money, let's buy this car. Otherwise, we are grown up, let's enjoy life. And there, everything was ready, and we were close to starting our new life. Katerina was diagnosed with cancer. We were fighting this disease for 2 years. We were running out of money. What time for a plan? The countdown has begun. Katerina had a few months or days, but I didn't put it down. I wanted to surprise her, to get this beautiful car for her. So I started to collect whatever I could to make a living. You know, my child, and my own health did not allow me many things. Now chemotherapy does not help my Katerina, and I do not know how much it will be with me. Nikos listened carefully to Gerakos and, loaded with the so-called, he managed to ask only how much money he was missing and thinking that with the money that remained, and except for making him the money and again he would not have enough. But he insisted and did not let Gerakos go, asking him where his house was. Nikos came to Gerakos' house. He sees Gerakos' cellar covered in dirt and covered in disease. And yet, they welcomed him with a rich family and their relationship was as if nothing had happened. The couple constantly held their hands tight and had such love for each other as in these beautiful romantic books. As he sees all this crazy relationship between the two people, he thinks, what a pity that this flame between them will soon go out. The time has come and Nikos gets up to leave, and before leaving the house, he takes out an envelope from his pocket and, deeply touched, gives it to Gerakos. Surprising, Gerakos, but what is this, my child? This is for you. Fulfill the surprise of your wife. And left in a hurry. The old man, in a hurry, ran behind the young man to return the envelope with the money, but again, impossible because the young man had made his decision. Shortly before they parted their ways, Nikos asked the old man not to reveal to anyone the help he had offered him. The next day, the old man visits the exact salon again, dressed in an old but clean costume, and it seemed that he was trying hard to show his competence. The citizens who had just met him were shocked, but they did not dare to deal with him badly again. And while the manager was thinking of kicking him out, Gerakos quickly went to the car he liked in his wife's and looked at it sweetly. Then one of the citizens approached him with a gesture. "My lord, look at the car. It has been sold. But I want to buy it right now." The angry citizen thought he was being played. Then Gerakos opens his bag. As soon as he saw the money, the citizen, stunned, glared at him. As if nothing had happened, the citizen gave his best self. The best service he had ever done. Explained to Gerakos everything about the car. With such details. With such clarity. As if he was saying a poem. The servants were looking at Gerakos and one of their colleagues, who had never seen him like that. It was time for the payment. All the papers were ready and Gerakos was happy. He emptied the bag with all the money on the citizen's desk. With his mouth open and shocked by the sight that came before them, all apart from Nikos. They continued with indecision. But they couldn't do otherwise the so great sale of their partner. Nikos did not show signs that the market was made with his help. The same and Gerakos said nothing. After a long process of cards, finally Gerakos sat in the car he wanted and left the salon. Nikos felt such satisfaction that maybe no one would understand him. Katerina yelled at Gerakos entering the room. At that time his wife was sitting and watching TV. The condition of the sick woman at that moment was good. "Come on, my angel. Get ready to take a walk wherever you want." He took her by the hand and took her out. Katerina was shocked when she saw the car, but at the same time scared. "My dear, have you gone crazy? What did you do? Did you close any bank? Do not be upset, my dear. I bought it normally and opened the door for her to sit." That day, the beloved couple took a walk until late at night. Finally, the dream of Katerina's beloved became a reality. They were ready to give up everything to enjoy their lives. Otherwise, how much time did they have left? Why should they wait for something else? The day dawned and Katerina left her life. Gerakos' wife was in bed, and her face was happy with a sweet smile. Gerakos did everything for his wife, to make her loved one happy before the end of her life, and finally he succeeded without regretting anything. They were together until the end, and they were happy for what they had dreamed of. After a few days, Gerakos again visits the exact salon, but this time without the bag. They now welcomed him with joy. Each customer was trying to do the best of their services to get used to the customer. Their faces were happy, but Gerakos was sad. Only Nikos was in a position to understand what happened. Gerakos went and stood in front of Nikos' office, and he reached out his hand with the keys of his car and says to him, "Thank you, my son, with a trembling voice. The car did its job, and now it's yours. Nikos was trying to hold back his tears and just closed his eyes without being able to say anything. Then the car was transferred to the smallest citizen, Nikos. Sadness and joy turned into shame once again when, with the guidance of his manager, the security threw Gerakos out of the salon. Days passed by and Nikos often visited Gerakos. He made friends with him and served him. Gerakos, however, was happy. His wife fell happy in heaven and left behind such a sign of life. He left such a gift to a new man. Because Nikos was a simple young man fighting for his life, but he sacrificed himself by giving up his savings for an unknown, beloved, old couple.